God, I can't believe this.
That can't be true. That can't be true.
I do believe it. No, I do believe it.
Yeah, well, make up your
mind. You know
mind.
what I did? I bought a bright yellow shirt today with a glittering palm tree so that Abraham would see me.
Talk into this. Yeah.
I bought a bright yellow shirt with the glittering palm tree so that Abraham would see me.
Well, that's not how you're chosen. It's not what you're wearing.
So this is good.
It's what's shooting out of your ears.
Amen.
It's your aura. It's your readiness to hear. It's the power of your desire in relationship with your readiness to hear it. Sometimes you can be not that ready to hear, but your desire is off the charts. And so we see you lighted up out there. You're sort of pulsing in the darkness. But when you have desire and you're really close to vibrational line with it, you line up. So it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter about the bright yellow shirt. Yeah. First, I want to say to Abraham, thank you for Esther Hicks. So my question is, it's the struggle I have between between the physical and the non-physical. And I know, like, my inner being. And
that's a strong word, that word struggle.
It is. It's a big struggle.
Really? Your inner being slapping you around a lot? How can that be a struggle?
I know my inner being is powerful, but my physical being is a big interruption to it.
Well, that's all right. Did you ever ride a bicycle?
Mm-hmm.
Did you get it right the first time you got on it?
No.
Did you get better at it?
Yes.
Was it more of a struggle in the beginning? Standing up's a struggle today. We want to hear you, and we are not making fun of you.
Okay.
But the word struggle is stronger than it needs to be, because sometimes alignment is more easy than others. But you'll really appreciate this. This will really resonate with you. If you are like most humans, and you've been calibrating to other humans, sometimes it's easy to get along with them, and sometimes it isn't. Sometimes the same person is moody in different ways. Sometimes you're moving from person to person to person. The law of attraction is really what's matching you up. But as humans, you go a lot of places that you're not inspired to go. You go because you're assigned to go. You go because you're supposed to go. You go because you're expected by others to go. You go because you're paid to be there, because it's your workplace or whatever. So there are a lot of humans that are interacting with a lot of other humans, and you find that kind of calibrating to be really challenging. But when you switch over to an understanding that you want to calibrate to your inner being who's always stable, then it's not challenging, because you're not trying to hit a moving target, because your inner being isn't moving. In other words, your inner being is always this signal that you can learn to tune to. Have you ever had a situation with two humans, like a husband and one of your children, or a friend and another friend, where they each wanted something different from you, and you're in the room with them trying to decide which one of them to please this red hot minute? And you know, now that's a struggle, because you can't please both of them, and they're both in their insecurity looking to you to give them something that they need. That's unstable. That's a struggle. But when you're talking about your relationship with your inner being, that's not a struggle, because your inner being adores you. Your inner being understands your worthiness. Your inner being knows who you are, knows what you want, knows where you stand in relationship to everything you want. So most of that equation that you have with people, well-meaning people, but just the same people, doesn't exist with your inner being. That's why we want to help you get acquainted with your inner being and your inner being's relationship with you. You're really parts of the same whole, but the inner being part is steady and sure. And you aren't always, and that's when you have a struggle. But it's an easier struggle. It's this easy. I don't feel so good. I must not be in sync with my inner being. So my inner being must be looking at this in a different way than I am. Wonder how my inner being's looking at this. And just with that handful of mental processes, usually you can realize that your inner being is seeing something different. When you're down on yourself and you feel bad, It's because your inner being isn't down on you. When you're mad at somebody and you feel bad, that's because your inner being isn't mad at them. When you're afraid of something and you feel that fear, that's because your inner being isn't afraid. Want to talk some specifics, or did that?
Just one specific. The inner being with the physical being.
Can you hear?
The inner being with the physical being, my physical being with my weight. My weight is my worst enemy. My weight it's an interruption to the person that I feel I was meant to be.
So here's the thing. So we talked about this a little bit already. How easy it is when you're in your physical form to look around, to sniff around, to feel around, to listen around, to lick around. In other words, your physical senses are dominant because they're so well developed. Each one of them is a vibrational interpreter. And so we know that manifestations for most people are easier to see, they're easier to hear, they're easier to know, except monkey. Monkey's not nearly as interested in what's going on, see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it, as sense it. So you're wanting to develop your ability to feel. We've been saying to you for a while that the struggle, we'll use your word, the struggle that most humans have with getting things to move in the direction that they want them to be is that they are so infatuated with what is. So you look at what is, you offer a vibration about it, and you can't get past it because it keeps your belief going. That's where you're trending. You trend where you look. When Jerry and Esther were roaming around this nation in the monster bus, and Esther did most of the driving, and sometimes Jerry would say, "Oh, look at that," and Esther would start driving toward it because where she's looking is sort of where she's going. He got so he never pointed anything out unless it was straight ahead. You tend to go where you're looking. It's a law of physics, really. What you give your attention to, you move in the direction of. So you have to find a way to be forward-looking rather than looking at what is. And we know you find a way to do that for a little while, and then you revert back. We acknowledge with all of you, friends, we know for sure it is easier for you to look around than it is to feel around initially. You will reach a place where you will be more like monkey, where you will be really interested. At the cocktail party last night, some lovely person said to Esther, "I can see someone, a being, standing on the stage next to you, Esther." And Esther said, "I know, it's Jerry." And he said, "Because when you move, your aura moves with you, but that doesn't." And so what we're getting at is there are all kinds of things that you don't usually see with your physical eyes that are part of your experience. So you have to come to believe that the vortex version is real and in the process of becoming. Here's the best way to describe this to you. Some years ago, there was a beautiful young girl coming to the Los Angeles workshops, really wanting to become pregnant. She so wanted a baby. She talked about it. She came every 6 months. Esther held a gathering there, and every 6 months she came, and the groups were small. She usually managed to get in the hot seat, and that was what she always wanted to talk about. But her feeling, what she was seeing, was absence of baby. She was wanting to get pregnant and not getting pregnant, and the reality of not being pregnant was so dominant within her. And so we talked about the vortex version. We talked about it's in the process of becoming. And then one day, maybe 6 or 7 workshops later, she arrived, raised her hand, sat in the hot seat, and announced that she is pregnant. And many of the same people, small group coming in those early days, were so delighted that now she is getting what she wants. And we said, "We don't see a baby." And she said, Oh, well, I'm just barely pregnant. We said, no, we don't mean that. We mean, you've been talking about taking the baby trick-or-treating. You've been talking about buying clothes for the baby. We don't see you doing any of those things now. Why are you so happy? And she said, because I have a baby. We said, we don't see a baby. It's like it's the vortex version of the baby. It's in the gestation period. It's in the process of becoming. But because she knew now it was in the process of becoming, it was easy for her not to feel lack of baby. How many people want a baby, can't get pregnant, adopt a baby, then they get pregnant? Why do they get pregnant after they've adopted a baby? Because they're no longer focused upon lack of baby. And so the human condition is you're usually focused upon what you've got. And if what you've got isn't what you want, then it just keeps changing to more of the same over and over again. So it is so important that you believe in the reality of your vortex with your gestation of the things that you want. And you have to let that be not the complete thing that you think about all of the time, but at least you want to let it be something that you're doing more of the time. And so we want to take issue with all of you about what you call present tense and what we call present tense, because we call what's in the vortex present tense. Once you've put it there, as far as we're concerned, it is done. And you've got to figure out a way to feel more doneness of what's in the vortex and less lack of what's in your experience, because there is nothing that you cannot be or do or have. Nothing that you cannot be or do or have. It's just a matter of, you called it a struggle. We're going to call it an experience of calibrating. Look at it this way. Thoughts about the absence of what you want don't feel good. So what do you think your inner being is thinking? If you're not feeling good, you know for sure your inner being's thinking something different. What do you think it is? Your inner being is not focused. Upon where you are in terms of manifestation, your inner being is focused upon where you're going. And when you do that, you'll be happy about where you are. When you get out on the road to do a road trip, Esther's been doing some road trips. She drove from California to Texas recently and loved every minute of it. Just couldn't stop oohing and ahhing about the beauty of all of it. You don't get part way out. It was a 2-day drive. She went with a friend, Val. Val's a really good driver. So she doesn't get out in the desert on her way to where she wanted to be and start feeling all discouraged and sorry for herself because she was not where she wanted to be, because she knew she was on her way to where she wanted to be. It's the same thing with everything. Yes?
Yes.
So, some games that we would play, wouldn't it be nice if? I'm really looking forward to, and something else. There's one last piece of this. We love you so much. You are so nosy about what you think other people think. And other people rarely are thinking exactly what you think they're thinking. You just assign it to them. So you've just decided, for whatever reason, that you don't look the way you want to look. Sometimes you pick it up from some other insecure person. Sometimes you do. But what are you doing roaming around in those frequencies? Did you not meditate? Did you not segment intend? Did you not play the wouldn't it be nice if game? Did you not make your statement to the universe? Did you not acknowledge that your vortex exists and that everything that you want is in it and you're on your way to it? Do you not understand this stuff? Do you not know that the law of attraction is real and that you can't get something when you're thinking in opposition to it? This is the wonderful thing about the law of attraction and everything that we're talking about here in terms of the laws of the universe. They are steady and consistent, and they won't fool you and they won't let you down. And so if something isn't moving the way you want it to move, it's because your thoughts are keeping you from moving in the direction that you want, because your inner being cannot will thoughts into your mind. There's no assertion. It's only attraction, and you are the attractor creator of your experience. Your inner being is a cooperative component, but you're running this show. Enough?
Enough.
Really good.
Thank you.
Really
Thank
good.
you very much.
Really good.
Don't forget to leave a positive message and subscribe.